Hello, good evening. We'll start in a minute. Is my screen visible? Right? Once again, good evening and welcome to session 4 of email marketing. I'm going to make my screen full screen so you can all see. I hope you had a good 2 days and had a chance to go through the video. Hello, the last person who said good evening. I can't see your name. Do go into settings and put it in. This is our agenda for today. You'll remember on Tuesday we talked about the basics of emailer creation, content creation. Today we are going to take that a few steps further and look at how to optimize this from a business activity point of view. I'll also take you through the prime areas of visibility and talk about mobile optimization. So let's start with what does a marketer usually say on email? What are the kind of things that you've seen on marketing mails? What is being said? I hope all of you have also done the little activity I asked you to do and plan 3 marketing emails for your brand because we have an exercise today that will use that. A lot of you have been asking for more interactivity, so that's where it is. So let's think about what does a marketer usually say on email? What have you seen? You've been looking at the promotions folder and for the past week and a half. So there are offers, right? Shantanu says offers. What else? Discounts, promotions, announcements, event invitations, sales announcements, information about new products, services, launches, right? Absolutely. And all of these fit into one of 3 things because there are just 3 major things that a marketer is doing on email. The first is okay, before that, let's understand what an email is. An email, at least as far as this class is concerned, is a marketing communication activity, right? Which means that you need to go in with a plan. Every single email that you send, you can't be sending emails just because it's cool to send emails, right? It's really not cool to send emails without a plan. And they are marketing emails, which means you need to have a very specific objective in mind. Marketing is a business activity, which means it is very specific, it's tangible, right? We are all marketers, we all deal with targets and specific numbers or specific goals that need to be achieved. Similarly, today we are going to look at what are the kind of goals that we can assign to marketing emails, how to measure them, and how to achieve those goals. You can't afford to go in like this, right? It's a business activity. You can't go in just saying, okay, I'm going to send you an email and I'm going to just start talking about my products. All those bad emails that you mark as spam are doing exactly that. They don't work on you, right? You want to immediately hit the spam button. You are not convinced to buy further. You're not even convinced to listen to them or read the entire email. And you, as the sender of marketing emails, don't want to make that mistake. So let's look at what are the 3 things that a marketer can successfully do on email. The first is to introduce something, introduce themselves, introduce a new idea, introduce a new product, introduce the company. These are called acquisition emails because you are starting a conversation. You are introducing, you're saying hello essentially, and a hello is the start of every single conversation in the world. We'll look at each of these in more detail between today and next week. But an acquisition email is the start of a conversation. Remember what I told you in the orientation? Email marketing is about keeping conversations going with your audiences. So the first kind of email is called an acquisition email because it acquires interest by starting a conversation. The second kind of email is a response email. What's a response? A response is something that you say back to somebody after they have said or done something. A response is a reaction, it's a reply. So, after your customer or your audience has said or done something, like let's say they have raised a complaint, so anything that you say back to them is a response. Maybe they have walked into your store and requested a test drive of the car, which is your product. You connect back with them, that's a response. Maybe they have tweeted something on Twitter about your company. You respond to them, that's a response. So any email that comes in reply to something that the customer has either said or done is a response email. Response emails help to keep conversations going. Acquisition emails start conversations, response emails continue conversations. And finally, there's reminder emails, because remember in the first session I showed you what most of us look like. We all look very hassle because we are dealing with hundreds of marketing messages every day. Even within our own mailbox, we are looking at 10, 20 emails at least every single day. That means that we are losing track of all the conversations we are having with brands and with people. So sometimes you may be having conversations with a customer, but it just flags off. They stop responding or they're not interested anymore. A reminder email is an attempt to revive the conversation. So, are we clear? We've got acquisition emails to start conversations. So, that's number one. We've got response emails to continue conversations. And finally, we've got reminder emails to revive dead or flagging conversations. Clear on this? Are we clear on this? Yeah? So here's what I want all of you to do. I hope all of you have your email plans in place. On Tuesday, I asked you to think of 3 different kinds of marketing emails that you would want to send to your customers on behalf of your brand. I want you to think about which of these 3 types each email is. So the 3 emails, you don't need to tell me what the email is about. Just tell me I have 2 acquisition emails and 1 reminder email, or maybe all 3 of my emails are response emails, or all 3 of them are reminders, whatever it is. Can you do that? You can take 30 seconds to think about this. What is your email trying to do? Is it trying to start a new conversation? Is it keeping a conversation going, something that's already a conversation that's already going on? Or is it trying to revive an old conversation? That means you were having a conversation earlier and it has stopped happening, so you're trying to. Okay, so Kavish says mine is acquisition. So I'm guessing all 3 of yours are acquisition emails. How about the others? Vidya also is saying acquisition. Anybody else wants to contribute? See, today's session is all about this activity, so I'll be able to work with whoever participates. Okay, Pranav has a reminder email, that's great. Shantanu has a reminder and a response email, all's right, excellent. Okay, that's great. Can you now take 30 seconds and think of, if you've only created acquisition emails, think of 1 reminder email that you could create and 1 response email. You don't have to create it, just think about what you could do. I gave you a few examples in each case. An acquisition email would be like a brand new launch. A response email I've already told you about. A reminder email would be, we've been missing you. We have a new shop. Would you like to come visit us? We haven't seen you in a while. Your loyalty points will expire soon. See what's happening? I'm trying to get the customer to come back again to me. So take 30 seconds and think of one kind of email for each of these types. If you have one already, excellent. If you don't, then just take only 30 seconds and think of this. You tell me, Kavish, what is the reason you send those emails? Right? I would say it could even be a reminder, it could even be a response email because you usually thank someone for doing or saying something, right? You don't just walk up to strangers and say thank you, right? Again, you tell me, Pranav, what do you think? What is a reminder? What is an invitation? Are you sending it out to people you've never had a conversation with them before? Are you sending it in response to some request they've raised? Or are you sending it to them because they seem to have forgotten you and you want to remind them? Okay, let's go ahead. Now, through the last three sessions, I've told you about three metrics of email success. Who can tell me what are those three metrics? What have we already discussed? That's great, Kavish. So, delivery rate, bounce rate, and open rate. Excellent. Now, here's your fourth and last metric for email marketing success, and that's click rate. The formulae are on the slide. There are two formulae, and there's a reason for that. I want you to take 10 seconds and read through these formulae. Done? So, there are two formulas because different companies and different organizations use different ones. These are the two most common formulae. If you look at them carefully, you'll realize they are not that different. It just depends on which point of view you want to look at it from. But both of them are measuring clicks. What are clicks? Any links that are there inside the email. The minute someone clicks on one of those links, it becomes a click. Make sense? That sounds like a very, very simple definition, right? That's all it is. Remember on Tuesday, I showed you primary links and secondary links. So every email might have about two, three links at least. Every single time one of those links gets clicked on by one of the readers, it adds to the click rate. Somebody has unmuted themselves. Please don't do that. The connection will destabilize if you do that. So, did we understand clicks? Now, click rate is measuring how many clicks you're getting per opened email or how many clicks you're getting per delivered email. Let's do a quick exercise on this. I sent out 100 emails. I hard bounced 10 emails. I soft bounced 5 emails. What's my bounce rate and what's my delivery rate? Okay, so Kavish says 15% is my bounce rate. Good. And what's my delivery rate? 85%. Excellent. Now, of these, let's say 70 got opened. So, what's my open rate? For that, I'm going to calculate what's my delivery rate, delivered. So, my deliveries are 100 minus 10 minus 5, right? That means 85 emails were delivered. So my open rate is 70 divided by 85 as a percentage. 82%, absolutely. Now I'm saying that in these emails there were a few links, and let me say 25 of them got clicked. So my click rate, let's say my click rate per opened email, 25 emails out of 70 got clicked on. That means my click rate by open is 36. So for every 100 emails that were opened, 36 of them got clicked on. But click rate can also be measured by deliveries. That means there were 25 clicks out of 85 that finally got delivered to mailboxes. So my click rate according to deliveries, click rate on deliveries, and this is click rate on opens. Are we clear on this? A lot of companies look at this one, but some companies also look at this one, and usually it's just called click rate. Both of them are called click rates. So when you are measuring this, be sure to be clear which one you're measuring. I hope we're all clear on this. Are we completely clear? Okay. Now, once again, MailChimp will give you all these figures, but you should know what you're looking at when you see them, because this is what will help you determine whether your campaign is going to be a success or not. Let's quickly jump back to this. Now, if you and I are part of the marketing team and we have to decide how to make this campaign better, how will we do it? Just based on these figures. What are some things that we can do to make this campaign better? Let's first look at the bounce rate. 15% exactly. So how do we do that? Reduce the bounce rate. So I'm going to go back and look at firstly 10 of them hard bounced. We know why there are hard bounces, right? Hard bounces most commonly happen because the address is invalid or wrong. They also happen because of a firewall or the spam filter, but let's set that aside and let's look at the addresses first. So first thing I'm going to do is check addresses. The second thing I'm going to do is check text to ensure to avoid spam, and check attachments, pictures to pass firewall properly, right? What about soft bounce? How can I avoid this? Soft bounces happen when the email is too large or the recipient's email mailbox is too big. So first thing I'm going to do is ensure email small and ensure recipients addresses are current and active. They're not 10 years old, so they haven't been checking, and they are active in this address. This should help improve my delivery rate. How can I improve my open rate? We spoke about this on Tuesday. What are the things that go into open rate? Subject lines, right? 82% is actually really good, but I still want to keep improving, right? I want 100% open rate if possible. Subject lines as well as check sender name. And finally, click rate. Now, how can I improve click rate? That is a large part of what we are going to talk about today. Remember what I said to you on exactly good content. Good content is the key because people will click if they have found your email interesting and relevant. For your email to be interesting and relevant, you have to think a lot about who they are and what they will find interesting and relevant and how you can deliver it to them in a way that makes sense. So let's jump back here and start by thinking about what is it that I want my email to do. I want all of you to do this now. These 3 emails that you've planned, select any one of them And you're going to ask yourself a set of questions. The first, most important question is, what is the business goal of your email? And while you're thinking about this, let me lay out what the business. So this is metrics. A business goal has to be tangible, measurable, take the business forward. So you can have a minute to come up with business goals for your email. So give me a specific business goal that your email you're trying to achieve with your email. Okay, Kavish says increase sales. Now, Kavish, one of the major things is, okay, ROI is a metric. It's not a business goal. What does ROI mean? ROI means different things to different people. Vidya, is it reach or is it leads or is it conversion? It can't be all three things. I like what Shantanu was saying. Get 10 bookings for a newly launched service. That is specific, it's tangible, measurable, it takes the business forward. Ayush, what you're saying, is it tangible or measurable? It takes the business forward, but is it tangible or measurable? So I'd like you to refine it. Kavish, when was the last time you saw an email and bought something? Just saw an email and it led to your buying something. How is it measurable, Ayush? And what is the business goal there? Business goals have to be tangible and measurable. Measurable means you can count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 70%, 80%. Okay, Aditya says at least 10 queries. Okay, all of you who are saying, I want to sell this many, I want all of you to think about when was the last time you saw one email and you bought something? Any industry, anything at all. Have you ever done that? Okay, Anirban says digital Vidya. Just one email, Anirban? So I'm not going to debate. Yes, there may be some products where it's sales can be an objective for emails, but you'll find it's pretty rare. Emails are in that sense like advertising. Advertising, you cannot put sales goals on them. Business goals that are achieved by advertising are something other than sales. Similarly, emails are also like that. Okay. So I want you to think about your specific company and product and see whether sales is a realistic goal for your industry, your company. If you say it is, that's fine. You know your industry better than I do. I'll take that. I'm going to put down what Shantanu said. Get 10 bookings for service. I'd like a couple more. So, Shantanu, can I just call this increase bookings? Yeah. 50 signups from my 6,000 subscribers. So, Anirban, is that the same thing as bookings? How is it different? From a business goal standpoint, How is a sign up? So someone is signing up for an event or a process, right? Isn't that the same thing as a booking? You're booking an event, you're booking a ticket or a seat at an event or a process. It's the same thing, right? Okay, Kavish is saying maximize number of visits. Visits to where? Okay, so increase website visits. Can we have a couple more? Very good. So Nachiket says download apps or software. Can you make it more measurable and tangible? Puneet, brand awareness is neither tangible nor measurable. Traffic on social media. Okay, can you put that in a tangible form? See, I want you to do what Shantanu has managed to do. That is what a business goal looks like. Business goals are measurable and tangible, they are specific. Anirban says complete 5 surveys. I'm taking that. Ayush, can you, okay? No, you need to make it specific. Vidya, I don't see any tangibility in that. How many do you want? Who do you want it from? Feedback where? How? What? 20 downloads of my presentation. Okay. So, how do you collect feedback, Vidya? See, you need to be specific. It's not the customer or the audience's job to be specific. The thumb rule in communication is to be as clear as possible. And today's activity is entirely about clarity in thought. 100 followers for Instagram. Okay. Ayush, do you realize followership is different from traffic? Yeah? Okay. Okay. I'm going to move ahead. Step 2 of this is going to be, so all of you continue doing this for yourselves. This is just illustrations. Now, what is it that you need the reader to do in order to achieve this goal? So, your goal is to increase bookings or increase signups. What do you need the reader to do in order to achieve this goal? Specifically, what does the reader need to do? The reader of your email. Okay, fill up booking form. If they click on the link, you'll achieve your goal, Anirban. You may have 7 links in your email. I might click on any one of them, right? So, specifically, let's be specific. How about the second one? Increase website visits. What does the reader need to do? Anirban, you're saying the same thing again. If I click on any one of the links in the email, that means website will get visited. So what is the action they're taking? They're visiting the website. Maybe so, but I was asking what is it the reader needs to do? Visit the website, right? We've not got into the email yet. We are just planning it. Yeah? Okay, complete surveys. What do you need the reader to do? So the business goal over here was to get complete feedback. Fill in surveys. Increase downloads. What does the reader need to do? I'm assuming this was download of, let's say, okay. Right, that's what I've done. What about increased downloads? Download app, presentation, paper, whatever it is. Increase followership on social media. What does a reader need to do? What do you want the reader to do in order to achieve this? Great followership on social media. Shantanu, liking or sharing doesn't increase your followership. It's usually called like or follow. Be active on social media. I'm very active on social media. Does that increase your followers, Ayush? All right. My question was, what do you want the reader to do? That comes from what your business goal is, right? You're going to plan out the email based on these two. Now, based on these two, how are we going to get the email to make this happen? The goal of the email is to achieve this, and we are going to do that by getting the reader to do this. Is that clear? Everyone with me so far? I'm going to make this slightly smaller. I hope you can all read because I need to show you more columns. Yeah. So you're going to do this by, first of all, creating some selling messages. A selling message is not to sell a product. Get me right on this. A selling message is selling an idea. So, what's a selling message? A selling message is anything that you say to the reader to introduce yourself, to set the context for the email, why you're sending the email, what you're hoping will happen, and convincing them to complete this action. So, everything that you're saying to the reader to try and get them to take this action counts as a selling message. So, let's go back here. Let's make it really simple. Let's take this email. You want to increase bookings or sign-ups with this email, and you need the reader to fill up a booking form. What are you going to say to them so they will do this? You have an email with which you want to increase bookings or signups, which means you need the reader to fill up a booking form when they finish reading the email. What can you say to them to convince them to do this? Discounts, okay? All right, maybe. So I'm going to put discounts and offers. Okay, let's look at the second one. This bit is really a test of how good a marketer you are, because marketing is all about charming and convincing your customer to take the action that you want them to take, right? So what are all the ways you can do that? Discounts are one way. Discounts, well, you're bribing them. And I'm not going to say that there is no value to that, but there are lots of other ways. How about increasing your website visits? You want them to visit the website. What can you say to them to get them to visit the website? Vidya, your email will only say if you need to know more, visit the website. Would you click on an email? Would you open an email and read an email that says, if you need to know more, visit the website? Visit website for exciting offers. Is that the only reason you visit websites, Kavish? Can we move away from discounts and offers? We've already got We know that discounts and offers are there. What else? Is giving people discounts and offers the only way to get them to visit your site, follow you on Facebook, fill in a survey, increase downloads? Is that what marketers are doing? If that was the case, then we would not never need to spend a rupee because we just get everything for free. What does that mean, Manikanta? Okay, so Anirban is saying choose from 20,000 songs by visiting. So what are you doing? You're showcasing interesting content from the site, right? Showcasing relevant content from the website, right? And you're not doing it by offering a discount. That's great. How about the third one? Getting complete feedback. You want them to fill in a survey. What can you say to them to get them to do this? Realistically, most people don't respond to that. How many surveys have you filled in the last year? Every brand wants to improve. Every brand values your feedback. How many surveys have you completed in the last year, Kavish, Vidya, Anirban? How many surveys have you done? 20 to 30, really, Anirban? Surveys. Okay. How about the others? Do they, Nimisha? I haven't filled in a single survey in the past year. Five or six, two or three. I've been in market research and I can tell you that a very small proportion of people respond to this. You can send out 100 surveys, maybe if you're lucky, 10 or 15 of them will come back filled in. That's just a different way of saying the same thing, Kaushik. Help us to serve you better. But you won't get a lot of responses with that. You have to achieve this goal. Just telling them we will serve you better with this is not going to achieve it. How can you how can you get more people to do this? I like what Heyman is saying, win loyalty points or rewards. That is different from help us to serve you better, right? You're adding some value to the customer. What is the customer's interest in spending 5 minutes in filling your form up? Can you see what I'm saying? You can send out an email, you can send out a survey email saying help us to serve you better, but I don't think you'll get a lot of responses in that. You'll get very low clicks on that. Okay, so Henma is also saying discount again. You don't need to bribe people, and also when you offer a discount, it's you're incentivizing them, which means that the results that you get of the survey may not be correct because people will want to please you because they think they're getting paid for it. But something like a loyalty point, I'm going to put offer loyalty points here. Let's look at number 4. How are you going to increase downloads? What can you say to people to get them to download your app or paper or presentation? I'm just going to ignore anyone who says discounts because that's already there. And look, you don't need to attend a webinar series to know how to offer discounts. This is a marketing class, right? Which means that what can you do without spending money or spending as little money? Try and think beyond discounts. Look at your promotions folder every day. Is every single email a discount? Most of these apps are free, Anirban. How many apps have you paid for? I want all of you to look at your smartphone right now. How many apps have you paid for? If someone comes and tells you free, are you going to say that's fantastic, or are you going to say, so what's the big deal? Every app, most apps I know are free. Okay, Webhub is saying best in class experience. Is that a selling message? I think it is. How do you have you been observing your promotions folder? You must be getting mails from apps at least. What do they tell you? How does a Ghana prove that it's better than whichever are the other music apps? Savan. How does Savan prove that it's get you to download them rather than Ghana? Both of them are free apps. Showcase good content, right? Showcasing good content is always a really great selling message. Reviews. Okay, testimonials are another excellent way. Very good. Yeah, I'm not going to take any of those anymore, Anirvan. You can see they're already there on this. Discounts, offers, that's already there. So let's not keep repeating the same thing. You already know how to do that. Why do you want to keep trying the same thing over and over again? And that just means 14 days you're not going to earn from it. Also, most apps are free. I'm not going to download an app that I'm only getting for free for 14 days because I know that every single thing that I can get an app to do, there will be 20 other apps that are free. Okay, think about how I described selling message. If someone comes to you and says you can keep updated, are you interested? I'm going to tell you, web of stay updated on my life. Does that interest you at all? It doesn't, right? Because it's very self centered. I'm assuming that you're that interested in my life and that interested in getting updates about me. Why? A lot of brands make this mistake. It's a very self centered way of doing that because the only people interested in the brand are the brand managers. Customers are not interested, they are not required to be interested. It's the marketer's job to be interested in the customer, not the customer's job to be interested in the brand. This is the day and age of the internet. I don't want to receive updates about the latest trends. Marketer is interested in pushing latest trends into my mailbox. Am I interested in receiving latest trends? Would you like to receive latest trends in all the industries that you buy from? Look at this word relevant. A sales brochure is not relevant to anyone but the marketer. Okay, followers like 5 million others do, says Anirban. That's a testimonial of a sort, right? 5 million people are saying this, so join them. You see how that's a testimonial? Aditya is saying information or entertainment, so that's again showcasing relevant content. Weber, when someone follows you on Facebook, how does that make you aware of their interest? Or if someone follows you on Twitter, they are being they are being informed about you. You are not being informed about them. Okay, so that's great, Anirban. Follow us for daily dose of motivation. That's relevant content, right? So Webhub, if I follow you, how does that make you aware about me, my interest? If I follow you on Twitter, how does that make you aware of my interest? How? You're promising something that is not clear. So then that's not true, right? If I follow you doesn't mean that immediately you're going to understand me. See what I'm saying? You have to be very clear on this because believe me, your customers are very smart and they will understand this. When you say follow me so I can know you better, all I'm hearing is you're going to say anything to get me to follow you. I don't really think that will work, Anirban, because most people don't want to change their minds. It sounds very threatening. Okay, now that we have a plan for how we are going to get the reader to take this action, within the email, we can think about what the email is going to say now. So, this email is going to be about discounts and offers so that I can get them to fill in a booking form. This email is going to showcase specific relevant content from my website so that I can get them to visit the website. This email is going to offer loyalty points if they fill in the survey. This email is going to prove that I'm better than the others by showcasing good content so that they will download my paper, app, or presentation. This email is going to show my testimonials, people who've said my product, my service is really great. And I'm also going to show maybe the top updates or the best pictures from my Instagram and ask them to like, follow, or subscribe to me. Which leads me to, so the reader has read through this entire email and they're saying, okay, done. What do you want me to do? Sign me up. So that leads me to the call to action. The call to action comes at the end of the email. The call to action is literally like, think about, you've lured the customer into your store. That's when they have opened your email. That means they've walked into your store. Your selling messages are all the salespeople on the floor who are doing their job of selling the products. The minute a customer says, done, I like this dress, the call to action is the payment counter where they go to pay, which means take the final action which will help you achieve your goal. So a call to action has to be specific. It should not be more than 2 to 3 words, maximum 2 to 3 words. It can even be a single word. It should contain an action word because there is an action in it. And it should create a sense of urgency. The call to action will be the link that they click at the end in order for you to fulfill your business goal. So let's look at what are the calls to action or CTA for each of these emails. So my first email's goal is increase bookings or signups. I want the reader to fill up a booking form and I do that by offering them discounts offers. So when they say, okay, I'm convinced, what do you want me to do? What is my answer going to be? What is my call to action going to be? Book now. Very good. Button is just the way you show it. Okay. Book now is the call to action. Second one, my goal is to increase website visits and I'm showcasing relevant content from the website. So I say, yes, this sounds fantastic. How can I proceed? So what will you say? Call to action is visit us, visit website or visit us. Specific, right? Third one, get complete feedback and I'm offering you loyalty points. So I'm saying, the customer is saying, yes, yes, I want more loyalty points. What should I do for this? Fill survey, complete survey. Usually the term used is complete survey rather than fill survey, right? The survey may be in the form of maybe in a form. Here are your loyalty points is not an action, Kavish. Is it a call to action? It's a statement. It's not an invitation to act. Can you see the difference? Here are your loyalty points is the selling message. The call to action is complete survey. Let's look at the fourth one, increase downloads. What's my call to action? Free download doesn't have an action word in it. Download. You don't necessarily have to say now in every single call to action. This week, when you're looking through your promotions folder, look at what kind of selling messages marketers are using. Look at what their call to actions look like. And finally, my fifth one is to increase followership on social media. I'm doing that by testimonials and relevant content. So the call to action will be follow or like. If it's a Facebook page, it'll be like. If it's Twitter, it'll be follow. If it's YouTube, it'll be subscribe, right? Different platforms use different terminology. All right. So can you see we've got a plan for our emails now? This is what I want to say in the email and this is what I want to say at the end of the email. Now, call to action is a very, very important part of the email because among all your links, your call to action is the most important link. Your call to action is the primary link. Remember primary link? Because a call to action is an instruction to the audience to provoke an immediate response. These are some other examples of calls to action: register, subscribe, download, call us today, visit store. When you're depicting call to action, make sure that it's really clear and visible, because you want to make sure that the reader sees it and wants to take action. Every single shop you visited, the payment counters will be very, very clear and visible. Have you ever seen a good shop where the payment counter is tucked away in some corner? It's always really brightly lit and visible, right? Your call to action is that payment counter. Your call to action is where you close the deal with your customer. And among all the clicks that can come on your email, let's go back here. Let's look at these clicks. I had 25 clicks. I want most of them to be on the call to action, right? I don't want them to be clicking on other things in the email. If every recipient clicks on only one link in my email, I want that click to be on the call to action. Yes or no? Because that is the main objective of the email. By the way, I might also include links to other things, like you can also follow us on Facebook here. You can also subscribe to our newsletter here. Those are secondary links. If they only take one action when they are on my email, I want them to take this action. Anybody disagrees? We all agree, right? People, have we fallen asleep? You wanted more interactivity. Okay, people, we can't have it both ways. You can't be quiet and also expect more interactivity. It's up to you to talk and participate. I can just run through these slides without doing these exercises. I'm quite happy to do that as well. Would you prefer to do that? I put in this activity because I thought you wanted interactivity. But I can't proceed unless you respond. And I don't want to be here beyond 9:30. I have to finish this at 9:30, so I'm going to close the session wherever it ends. So please respond, because otherwise it's a waste of time. So when you're depicting your call to action, make sure it's a button, because buttons are really clear and visible. Buttons look good as well. Next session is going to be MailChimp. I'll show you how to embed buttons. This is something called the squint test, which means if you step away from the screen and close your eyes almost so you can't see the screen, where the visibility is really blurred, if the button is still visible to you like this, then you've done a good job. So the call to action button has to be that big and clear. Use your fonts carefully there. Put a lot of space around it. You remember the Amazon email that I showed you on Tuesday? Multiple column? That email had a call to action that said learn more in a bright yellow button, and it had a lot of space around it. That's why it jumped out even though there were red pictures on it. So keep these things in mind when you're designing your call to action. This is an example of an email from Amazon, and it says, "Thank you for your recent purchases. Your reviews will help other customers like yourself shop on Amazon.com." So the selling message in this case is to make the customer feel very important, saying that if you do this, then other customers will think very highly of you because you're helping them. Community sentiment, ego stroke, all of that. And if I see that and I'm convinced, then my call to action, which I'm going to take, is review this product. But Amazon also sends out emails like these, which perform the same business function, the same business goal, which is to get reviews. This email has the call to action split into 5 buttons. In the case of this email, when I click on review this product, it takes me to the site where I fill in an essay type review. In the case of this email, I just click on any one of these buttons and a rating gets entered. Why does Amazon do this? They do this because different customers respond differently. There are customers who do not want to waste a lot of time writing a long essay type review. If they see this email, they are not going to click on it. But they'll respond quite well to something like this. Okay, it's only going to take me 2 seconds to give it a 5 point rating, 4 point rating, 3 point, 2 point, or 1 point. On the other hand, there are customers like me, for instance. If you ask me, how is this book? I won't be able to give you a rating on 1 to 5 because I want to say that I really liked the writing, but the ending was not good. The cover was really nice, it was really beautiful, but the page quality was not good. Also, the font was too small, I could barely read it, but the hero was really excellent. So, I'm the kind of reader who likes to give long essay type reviews. I won't respond well to this, but I will respond quite well to this. So, if like Amazon, if you have been tracking click rates and open rates, you get a better understanding of individual customers. You can then target the different kinds of customers with slightly different emails of this sort. Remember A B testing? You can do A B testing right at the start to see which one gets better clicks. Your business goal in both these emails is to try and get people to give their feedback, right? It doesn't matter whether they click on this, go to the site and leave their feedback, or whether they click on this and give their rating right here. You're achieving your goal either way. You want to see which one gets you a response. And you might find, like Amazon, that different groups of people respond better to different emails, in which case you can then target the different groups with slightly different emails like these. Email marketing lets you do that. This is actually also part of something called segmentation, which we'll cover again in the seventh session. So keep this example in mind when we get to week 4. If you have a really, really long email, make sure to repeat your call to action at the end. There's a simple reason for this. If you ever visited a shopper stop or a lifestyle or one of those stores, you'll notice that there are different payment counters. There's a payment counter on every floor, usually, if they are a multi floor shop. Why is that? Because they know that customers lose interest. If a customer is on the second floor and you tell them you have to walk down 2 stories to pay, the customer might lose interest and just walk out of the shop. Similarly, in an email, if the person is convinced and they want to click on the call to action, but they have to search for it, they might lose interest and come out of the email. So you can repeat the call to action again, repeat the button. If your email is so long that they have to scroll so you can't see it, repeat it again. Thumb rule is wherever a person is on the email, there should be at least one call to action button visible to them wherever they are. This particular email uses a link rather than a button, but they've still repeated the call to action. So don't forget to do that if your email is really long. When the person clicks on the call to action, it takes them to the last part of this exercise, and that's called landing page. A call to action takes you to a link, right? So, what is a logical landing page for each of these? The first one, the business goal was to increase bookings. Your email had discounts. The call to action said book now. So, where should I expect to go when I click on this? When I click on a button that says book now, when you click on a button that says book now, where would you expect to be taken? A page with payment details, right? Very good. How about the second one? My email is showcasing relevant content from my website, and the call to action says visit website. What should the landing page be? Homepage. Very good. How about this? My email has loyalty points, and the call to action says complete survey. Survey form. Very good. The fourth one, my email says I'm better than the others and I have testimonials or good content, and the call to action is download. Will it be the app? Should it not be the app store where I can download the app? Exactly. Download page on the app store or on the site. No, it doesn't mean the same, Kavish. When you say app, it means the app opens up. If I've not downloaded the app, then how is it going to open up? And finally, like, follow, subscribe. What's my landing page? Social media page. Very good. Think very carefully about your landing page, because your landing page is where you could lose your customers. You brought them all this far, you've sent them an email that is so good that it got delivered, it got opened, it got read and clicked on. You don't want to lose them here because you put in the wrong link. And an amazing number of marketers seem to make mistakes here. So don't lose them at the very last stage. This is like the customer has been lured into the store, they have liked your product, they've come up to the booking counter, and your credit card machine is not working, or there's nobody at the booking counter where they've come to pay. That's going to be a really silly mistake to make, right? So think about your landing page. Make sure that your landing page aligns with the call to action. It has to be a logical step forward from the call to action. Try and see if you can make it look a lot like the email, because then it'll seem like a logical flow. Make sure you're not repeating the message. Lock them in over there. I'm going to show you an example. This is a case. Now, keep in mind a landing page is a web page, which means using Google Analytics or any other analytics, you can also track where the hits came from. This means that, remember in the first session I showed you, for every $1 you spend on emails, you gain $44 in response. You can actually track whether your email is achieving its goals. One of you had a tangible goal of, I want to increase 10 registrations using this one email. Your website registration page might be getting hits from other sources like your Facebook page and all also. How do you know whether any of those registrations came from your email? You can map it back using your analytics, right? A landing page is where they land when they click on the call to action button, WebHub. It could be a page on the website, it could be anything else. Only one of these is a page on the website. A survey form doesn't have to be on a website, it could be a Google form. Download page on the App Store is not a page on the website. A social media page is not a page on the website. Clear? A landing page is anywhere that you're landing upon after you click the button. So this is an example of an email from a company called Canva. Canva is a design services company. I'm going to read out the email because I know the font is not clear. It says, introducing the first ever Canva Cup. Canva is now available in 7 languages. Celebrate with us by entering the first ever Canva Cup. How to enter? Simply upload your design to social media, hashtag it Canva Cup. If you're uploading to Facebook, make sure to make it a public image. Here's how. There's an image. Our judging panel will select the winners and finalists for below. There's also a People's Choice Award. Most liked post wins. For prizes and categories you can win and more details, click here. You can enter right now. Entries closed 28 June 2016 at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Click here for details. Now, there are a lot of things wrong with this email. Can you see why? The font doesn't make sense. It's too crowded. It's all rushed in all together. Plus, the email is too long and it's unnecessarily repeating itself. Exactly. And it's unnecessarily repeating itself. It's not even interesting. And the call to action is not specific at all. What do they mean by click here for details? They've already given me so much details and they're going to give me more. A better call to action would have been enter contest, right? Because this is an email about a contest. Now here's where it took me when I clicked on this. This was the landing page and it said enter the Canva Cup, help us celebrate Canva's launch in 7 new languages, create a design, share it with Canva Cup for a chance to win. This is just repeating the same message. And on this website, there was one more button that said create my design. They could very well have had this button on the email, right? Create my design. It would have saved one step. Keep in mind that every additional step that you add to your reader's process, you risk losing them because you're wasting their time. So plan your landing page very, very carefully. For a design services company, they didn't do a good job designing this at all. The website also had all of this in very, very tiny letters. So don't make this mistake when you're thinking about your landing page. Remember spam filters? Spam filters work based on the text of your email to see that you don't sound like a spammer. So when you're writing your email with all those selling messages, make sure that you're not confusing your reader. Your reader should not look like this. Keep your message really simple and short. A lot of the mails that you see in your spam folder, you'll see in addition to either not having text or having attachments or coming from senders who look suspicious, the ones that have text also you'll notice are very badly written. They make grammatical mistakes, they make spelling mistakes, they try and use very big words. So keep your sentences really short. Make sure there is text in the email and not just links. There's a balance between the number of words and links. Use simple words. If you can say use, don't say utilize. If you can say change, don't say transformation. Avoid clutter. So don't pick on pictures that are very cluttered, and also don't clutter up your email like this one. This is an example of a cluttered email. Don't you think this is cluttered? Not just in terms of the font, but even the way the information is presented. It's actually not a lot of information. All they've said is we have a contest. This contest is to celebrate that we now have a new feature. You enter the contest by putting up a design and hashtag it Canva Cup. That's just four statements. They could have done it in four sentences. Instead, they did it in so many sentences. So think about what you're saying and how you can say it in the shortest, easiest possible manner, because that will keep you out of the spam filter as well. I'm going to share an article that can give you further tips on avoiding the spam filter. Think about your reader also. Email is a very, very personal medium, and every reader wants to be made to feel special. Look at this email from Dropbox. It says, "Hi Corey, do you have more than one computer? By installing Dropbox on each of your computers, you can save a file to all your computers at once, start working on one computer, continue working on another, get to your photos, documents, and videos from anywhere. Go ahead and give it a try. Thanks for using Dropbox. Get extra space free." Now, this is a really, really nice email for one reason, because it's got this very friendly image, and also it addresses the reader by name. It's a very, very personalized way of doing this, right? You respond better when you see "Hi Ayush" rather than "Hello customer," or "Greetings Vaibhav" rather than "Greetings respondent." We respond better when we see our own name, right? See or hear our own name. You can personalize this using all the information that you already have about your customer. Right now, don't worry about how you're going to do it. Let's say you have 50,000 people in your database. Does this mean you have to individually write an email to all 50,000? No, you don't need to. MailChimp will let you customize all these. If you have everyone's names, you can just put in a little piece of code when you're designing the email, which means every person will get their own name in their email. Here's another email that customized it even further. They started off by saying, "Hi Dennis," so there's their name. It says, "Your Facebook page has 12,498 fans." This email is for a book. It's to promote a book called Generate Leads using Facebook. So they've clearly collected this information from their customers, how many fans their Facebook pages have, and they've used that in the email. This just makes it sound a lot friendlier. It makes it sound as if the marketer is really interested in me. And human beings by nature, we are interested in people who show interest in us. So think about all the ways in which you can personalize your email. What do you do if your reader wants to get out? What do you do when a marketer is sending you emails that are not interesting to you? You unsubscribe, right? I want to show you a video at this stage. Please watch this video and come back and tell me when you're done, and we'll discuss this further. Okay, are we done? Now, the unsubscribe button is a legal requirement on all marketing emails. You cannot send out a marketing email without an unsubscribe option. You'll be flouting international law on this. If you're using MailChimp will not even let you send an email without the unsubscribe link. If you delete the unsubscribe link, they will put it in, they'll embed it in the email before sending it. Or they will just not let you send the email if you try and get around that. So the unsubscribe button definitely needs to be there. And the good thing is that the unsubscribe button actually helps you, because if the reader is anyway not interested, forcing them to stay is not going to get them to stay. They are just going to mark you as spam if they find you irrelevant. So it's better that they unsubscribe rather than mark you as spam, because then you at least know that they've left and your deliverability is not getting hurt. Plus, you can find other ways to lure them back if they've unsubscribed. The most common reason people unsubscribe is because of lack of relevance, which means, coming back to it, the content of your email should always be driven by relevance. Am I saying something that is going to be interesting and relevant to the customer? If not, it only takes one email that's irrelevant for them to unsubscribe or mark me as spam. So let's keep that very clearly in mind. Don't ever forget that email, even though it uses all this high flown technology, is still a very personal human medium. So don't get locked into a cycle like what happened to that marketer in the video that I just showed you. When it comes to an email, there are also some areas where the readers tend to notice a lot more than the others. And these are the prime areas of visibility on an email. The first one is the top left corner of an email. And this is what we call the preview pane. The top left corner, the eye goes to it automatically because, well, it is the top left corner. Also, there is a feature in all mailboxes, definitely in tools like Outlook, but also even in Gmail. Right here, there is a feature that lets you split your screen into either left and right side or top and bottom. And what does this do? So I've split it into horizontal split here, which means that I see all my mails at the top, and when I click on each one, I can peep into the email without having to actually open it. I can do the same thing as a vertical split, which means I can peep into the email and decide whether I want to go further or not. So that means the reader is able to see either the upper half of the email or the left half of an email. So the top left half is really important because there may be people who are peeping into your email without it showing in the open rate. And they're peeping in there because they want to be convinced into opening it. They're asking, can you show me anything more which will convince me to open it? So in your top left corner, make sure that you definitely have your brand name, your logo. Maybe if you want to have a little text like this one does, it's too small to see, but there is definitely some text here which says welcome and something more. Definitely make use of the top left corner, which is about 250 by 250 pixels. This device is changing the way we are doing all things in the world, the way we live, the way we connect with each other. And there's one major difference in the way mobile phones function from the way computers function. And that difference is that a mobile phone is what we call a portrait layout versus a computer, a desktop, which is a landscape layout. So when you're designing your email, we are thinking of it in a landscape layout. Everyone here knows what portrait and landscape are, right? Portrait means the picture is taller than it is broad. Landscape means it is broader than it is tall. Yeah? So when you're designing an email, think about how it's going to look on a mobile phone. If you look at a landscape layout and you view it within a mobile phone, you'll have to keep scrolling left, right, and that's very annoying to do. I'm going to tell you a few more things about mobile, but before that, can we take a minute for feedback? And don't leave, please. The session is not over. I've got to cover a few things after this mobile optimization. Let me know when you're done. Shall I proceed? Okay, thank you. So, when it comes to mobile phones, here are some facts and figures. Now, these are US centric, but I can assure you that in India, it's even more. India, Asia, really, because the Asian markets are mobile first. Internet penetration is growing through mobile phones, not computers. More than 50% of people are looking at their emails via mobile phones. And 70% of people surveyed said that they delete an email if it doesn't look good on their mobile phone, if it doesn't render properly. So, all in all, mobile is really the deciding factor and not desktops. So, that means you've got to design keeping in mind that most people will make the decision looking into a mobile phone screen. That means very small screens, that means don't use too many complicated fonts, don't stretch out your pictures across, try and use them within very small, narrow lines. Make use of this one feature, which is view this email online. View this email online is there so that people can click on it and then view it in a browser window, the email in a browser window. There are several advantages to this. One of the advantages to the reader is that a lot of mailboxes, the emails are not mobile optimized, so they have to scroll left and right. But when they click on view this email online, their browsers are mobile optimized, their mobile browsers. So it will be fit to a mobile phone screen. The email will accordingly render, but on a browser window. Secondly, we know that a lot of readers don't have their images turned on. But when they open the link on a browser, the images will also load. So, view this email online is a feature that helps both you, the marketer, as well as the recipient. MailChimp actually automatically embeds a view this email online option into your emails. You don't need to do it. It's right there in every email that you send out using MailChimp. I'll point it out to you next week. This is what your mobile email app looks like, doesn't it? It's a series of emails that you can see on that tiny mobile phone screen. Let's look at what's showing. There's the sender's name, under that, there's the subject line, and under that, there's something called pre-header text, which is the topmost text in an email. You can make use of that if you're a smart marketer. This is this is what default emails look like. So the pre-header text just has forward this email, view this email online, click here to view in your browser. But here are some marketers that have made very smart use of whatever is the text right on top. They said Del Frisco's double E3, that's the subject line. That's the sender name. Now open in Orlando is the subject line, and the pre-header text, which is there at the top of the email itself. There's a new place to enjoy your favorite bold flavors and warm hospitality. Similarly, Litmus, my eye is automatically drawn to this because it's a number 16 free tickets up for grabs. So, your open rate is primarily determined by the subject line and the sender name. But in today's times, you also have the help of the preview pane and the pre header text to try and get a little more attention your way if you make use of these. These are some of the key areas in a mobile, in an email. There are also different ways you can design an email to be compatible for a mobile phone. The first simplest way is to make it really skinny. That means you keep your email very, very slim. So when people read it on a mobile phone, they'll see this. When they see it on a desktop, it's a lot of space wasted. But at least this way, the reader on the mobile phone doesn't have to keep scrolling left and right. I'll explain what reflow is in a minute. There's definitely a compromise when you see it on a desktop because the picture is getting stretched. Also, there is all this waste of space on both sides. But this is the simplest, easiest thing that you can do when you're designing emails which are for mobile first audiences. You can use a design called scalable design, and this involves some coding. A scalable design is designed in the form of boxes. This box can zoom up or down depending on which screen it's being viewed under. The email itself is sensitive to whether it's being viewed on a mobile phone or on a computer. This is what the email looks like on a computer. This is how it looks on a mobile phone. Notice the bottom right box that has the Facebook logo. You'll see the Facebook logo is looking a little short and stretched out. Whereas on the mobile phone, it's looking tall and thin. So what this does is it stretches the email to 630 pixels if it's seen on a desktop. It compresses it to 426 pixels if it's seen on a mobile phone. So you have to be careful to design your boxes in such a way that they don't look very odd if they're stretched or compressed. Use fonts like these that look okay even if they're stretched or compressed a bit. And pictures, you have to be very careful because pictures like people's faces will look distorted if they're either compressed or stretched. So something like this plane is good because even if it's stretched a little, it just looks like a longer plane. Responsive is probably the best of all the kinds of emails, and responsive takes a lot of time, cost, and effort to design. But responsive has a lot of features. Basically, the email makes a lot of decisions on its own because it's coded into the email. With a responsive email, this is what it looks like on a desktop, and this is how it looks on a mobile phone. Long emails, that's why. So there's one large picture, it's followed by text. Under that, the screen is split into two halves, left and right, images on both sides, and then two blocks of text, and the same below that. When this is seen on a mobile phone, this picture is compressed to the mobile phone size. Under that, there is a block of text, but because the screen size is much narrower, the text is flowing to the next line. That is why this text is a lot longer over here than it is over here. Under that, the screen doesn't split into two halves, but the picture of the taxi is the same size as the picture above it, and that there's a text box under it. And this picture, which appeared on the right, now moves to the bottom here. So look at all the things that are happening with a responsive design. It's adapting to the kind of device and also the kind of media. The images are resizing. The layout is changing depending on which medium it's viewed under. The text is flowing, it's seeking its own size depending on how much screen size is available. And the call to action is also resizing. You'll see that the call to action on the mobile phone is much bigger than it is on the desktop. You know why this is? On a desktop, the call to action gets clicked with a mouse and pointer like I'm showing you on this slide. But on a mobile phone, I'm clicking it with my finger. Fingers are a lot less precise than your pointer. So you need to give the reader a lot more space to click the link. That's why the call to action button is that much bigger for a mobile phone screen. If you don't want to spend so much of time and money on a responsive design, you could go in for something called a fluid design, which is somewhere in between the scalable and responsive. So fluid design is also designed in boxes, except that it reflows. In the scalables case, the text doesn't seek its own level. The text stays the same and it keeps getting compressed or expanded. But just like with responsive, in a fluid design also, the text will seek its own level. It'll just align completely for whatever is the size. The pictures and the layout will not change though. So you can use the fluid design when you're just using one picture center aligned like this and have the text be whatever it is you want to. So these are the 4 different design types that you can do to optimize your email for different screens. MailChimp offers you a variety of different kinds of designs of each of these types. If you're using some tool other than MailChimp, make sure that you're being cognizant of your mobile first customers and designing accordingly for them. This is how the email looks. So this is an email that's designed without responsive. The same email, when you view it under a mobile phone with responsive, it will accordingly resize. You can see the entire cycle over here. Unlike this where you have to keep going back and forth, left and right and up and down. And that brings us to the end of today's session. These are some things I'd like all of you to do for next week. Don't forget to watch this week's webinar recordings. If you haven't watched Tuesdays, then Tuesday as well as today's. Don't forget to watch it this weekend. Please read the notes of this week. Work on your assignment. Primarily, what you need to do is create 2 marketing emails for your company. So when I'm saying plan, go through this entire exercise for these 2 mails. Think about the business goal, the reader action, selling message, call to action, and landing page. Plan it out. If you want to, you can even write out the text of the email. Next week, we are going to be doing a demonstration of MailChimp. I would like all of you to set up a MailChimp account. It's a free service. You can go to www.mailchimp.com. We are not going to be taking you through the setup process. The setup is really easy. You will need to fill in a form and give an email address. They'll send you a verify link, and that's how you set up an account. Set it up and explore it on your own. Then when you come to the demo next week, the demo will make a lot more sense to you. In the demonstration, I'm going to take you through my MailChimp account. design two emails and send them to you so you can see what they look like when you're designing them and what they look like at the end. And then we'll analyze the reports. That's going to be session 5. And session 6, we are going to be looking at case studies. Don't forget to look at your promotions and spam folder. And I will see all of you next Tuesday.